Hi, welcome to another ransomware analysis video. Today we're going to be looking at a sample called Kryptonite. It's a fairly recent sample, a couple of weeks old. I did actually have a look at it previously, but I wasn't able to perform any dynamic analysis on it. The reason being, I was running a Windows 7 VM. It wasn't running. I think there was a dependency missing. I've heard some other people having similar problems with it. So I recently installed Windows 10 VM, exactly the same sort of software installed in it, nothing different, and the sample's running fine. So it's worth taking into consideration if you were having problems running this sample, if you've been trying to analyze it. So we're just going to do a usual stuff here. Have a look at the strings. Just some information about the ransomware. It is basically a snake game, which is you can play through the command line if you launch it. It'll just bring up a game you can play with the keyboard. So I'm not too sure whether the authors actually took some of this code from elsewhere or wrote the game themselves. I'm assuming they probably took the code from elsewhere and just added ransomware functionality to it. So when you see stuff like this, copyright P.J. Plugger, licensed by, that is likely to be related to the actual snake game. Here we can see our functions, our imported DLLs. This is interesting. So we have here probably a removable drive, Dropbox, Technician, I'm assuming that's supposed to be, and Semester 8 ransomware. So that kind of indicates that this was maybe a university or college project for somebody. If so, it's a pretty strange project to take on, and definitely shouldn't have ended up in the wild. You know, this has a full ransom note and stuff like that, which would you'd kind of think that it's been designed for actual use. But having said that, I got this from VirusTotal. I'm not too sure how many people have been infected by it, if any. It might have just been uploaded there by the author to verify that his or her ransomware wasn't detected by many AVs at the time, or was detected, you know, just to try and get some results, maybe for a university project. So, not too sure whether that's the case, but could well be. So, scrolling up, we're seeing some of the same stuff repeated here. Yeah, repeating quite a lot. So, I'm just going to have a look as well, see if there's any network indicators just showing. Ads, Google, cloudapp.azure.com. Okay, nothing looks particularly interesting there. So back to PE Scanner. See that's been scanned. The date is showing Friday, June 23rd. It's currently July the 11th. We've got 3 imported DLLs and some suspicious function alerts here. So creating files, processors, checking for debugger, writing files, etc. Okay, so that's cool. I'm going to jump over to the Windows 10 system, where we also have a copy of the sample. And first thing we'll do is open it up in IDA Pro. Just while I'm doing this, I might have a quick look in PE Studio. It's a tool which I haven't really used too much on previous videos, and I'm aware that kind of using the same tools in every instance, which if you have specific tools you like, you're likely to keep reusing them, but it's good to vary them, particularly if some offer features which others don't. So we can see here there was a file linked with debug information, which is that referring to the removable drive by the looks of it, the Dropbox. Okay, we don't want to look for it. That's fine, just minimize that for a second. So PE Studio, Malware Initial Assessments. There is a pro version of this, I'm just using a free version. What's quite nice is you get a virus total results here showing the different antiviruses, what they've detected it as, and on what date. We also have indicators, potential malicious indicators, so it modifies the registry, references a recycle bin, so it might be deleting files. It's scored 46 out of 64 by virus total. The references blacklisted strings, enumerates files, etc. So there are some indicators there indicating it's probably malicious. We have our libraries, we can get a description of what those DLLs are used for. We have our imported functions and blacklisted to indicate whether they could be malicious. We can have a look at the strings that are found. So there's a lot of strings in here. As I say, a lot of the strings seem to be repeated. At first glance there we can see we're seeing some file extensions, probably which are going to be encrypted. It's indicating that we can download the decryptor from ads, Google. So that was the address that we saw in Remnux there, which I wouldn't have assumed to be malicious just looking at it, was suggesting the decryptor can be downloaded from there. Okay. So plenty of file extensions. As you can see, it looks like quite a lot of these just repeating. Again with the functions, file extensions, etc. A lot of garbage there. Some information there about the snake game we have designed and programmed by Manish Kumar and Gaurav Anand. So I'm not too sure whether that's talking about the game. I'm assuming it probably is, and that the ransomware authors haven't left the full name. But again, if it's a college project, then they might not be too concerned about that. Okay, now we're seeing some of the ransom note here. So important. All your all your files are encrypted with RSA 2048-bit private key and unique key. Original files have been overwritten. Don't worry, you can restore your files, but it'll cost you $500. So again, being that specific about what they're looking for and providing the link to a decryptor kind of indicates malicious intent. Maybe they've added that Dropbox file in to have a good cover if they do, if they were to get caught distributing this ransomware, they could essentially say that they were working on a university project and it must have been leaked. Just scrolling down here, trying to get some of the larger strings. You can see here Kryptonite, ransomware. Just disable, have an internet connection, disable your firewall. Okay, a lot of strings in there. I think we've seen most of the important things we want to see in terms of the ransom note, the files it's going to encrypt and stuff like that. So I'm going to close this down, jump into IDA Pro. So there are a lot of subroutines here. It's not going to be very easy working through that. Obviously a lot of that is just on the actual, it's going to be based on the snake game itself rather than the ransomware functionality. If we go and have a look at strings in here, then it'll make it a bit easier just to potentially try and find some code. Some interesting code to look at. So See here a list of file extensions. Okay, it's just in the our data section. There's no instructions around that. Yeah, it's certainly not going to be an easy piece of ransomware to analyze just based on the assembly. So, what was that? Okay, so some regions here. This might just be to do with the keyboard layout for the actual Snake game. Could be to do with language for the ransom note, although as far as I'm aware it doesn't do translations, it just prints the ransom note in English. It could be determining which countries not to infect, but again I think that's probably just more related to the actual Snake game than anything else. Okay, so some dates in there and stuff as well. Again, it's hard to really segment in here what's going to be used for the game as opposed to what's going to be used for the encryption. I suppose we could go and jump in and try and find specific functions here, like beEncrypt. Yeah. Alright, yeah, no, I'm going to jump over to the dynamic analysis because I don't want to get too caught up just looking at the assembly when I can't see any obvious indicators there of what's going on in terms of the ransomware. Okay, so we're going to go through and open up the usual tools here for the dynamic analysis. Open up Process Hacker and Process Monitor. Process Monitor, we're going to change the filter on to Operation Process Create. Okay, so we're just going to see the processes that have been created. Although we'll actually probably change that once it starts running. Also, we're going to open Wireshark. We're going to open RedShot. Take this registry shot first. I will note, you probably see here that Windows 10 seems to be a lot slower at taking registry snapshots. Even just opening programs, you know, I'm getting a lot of freezing, which I wasn't getting with Windows 7 or Windows 7 VM with all the same hardware settings, which is a bit annoying. Okay, so once that snapshot's taken, we'll start our traffic capture. Yeah, so you can see what I mean about the speed there. It's very poor. Okay, so I'm going to run the malware now. I'm going to jump in very quickly and suspend the process because I want to have a quick look and see. I want to have a look at some of these tools before it actually performs the encryption, and I want to be able to show you how the Snake game, what it looked like when we play it. Okay, so not seeing too much there. We had the standard query to ads Google, which was the address that we saw we can go to retrieve the decryptor. Okay. Right, okay, we just got the get connect test. Alright, let's just see if there are any objects we can export. No. Okay. So gonna go back over and have a look at this exe. So this launched 1.exe from the original exe that we were looking at there. If we go into memory, have a look at the strings. I suppose we're going to see a lot of the same stuff that we saw in PE Studio and that we could have got through IDA Pro. Okay, actually no, not seeing anything really ransomware related there. We have that address, an IP address there. It might just be because it's not launched that yet, or it might be sitting in this main executable. Let's have a look. Okay, so I don't see any sign of a ransom note or anything like that at the moment. Obviously it will come through, but whenever I resume this, we're not going to have much time before it actually encrypts the files. If you don't start the game of Snake, then it'll just encrypt the files anyway, and then you won't be able to play it. So let's close that. I'm not going to take the second registry snapshot because it's not actually done the encryption yet. In terms of process monitor, we can see processes excuse me, processes were created there. What we can do here is include process name and then change that filter and go and take off the process create, so that we're basically just looking to find anything that the sample has done. So what registers has it looked at or changed? What files has it loaded, created, closed, deleted, etc. Okay, so you can see it wrote the file there, that 1.exe to app data roaming. So let's go and have a quick look in app data. Okay, so it's in roaming. It created this 1.exe. It also created a JPEG, but we can't actually see it there now. Just out of interest, let's have a quick look and see if we can disassemble the 1.exe in IDA Pro. Okay, so it's coming up with that message again. It might have just copied the same exe to app data. It looks like it has, yeah. So I'm not going to really get any more info from that than we would the original. So I'm going to resume the process and I'm going to try and play the game of Snake and we'll see what happens. Okay. So we stop playing.
Attention. 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 Your documents, photos, databases and other important files have been encrypted.
Okay. So we've got a
Attention.
audio alert,
Attention.
kind of similar to what we've seen with the likes of Cerber. It's a pretty cool feature added on, I think, for what is a pretty amateur piece of ransomware in general. So we have our ransom note that we saw there. Attention, all your files, images, videos, database, etc. have been encrypted. They want $500. They want us to follow the instructions in this note. If we go to this note, it tells us to go to run getmyid.exe. I don't see any indication of where that is. So I'm not too sure where they might have dumped that. Let's have a look back at process monitor. So they wrote this file 1.exe, create file. Yeah, I don't see any other indication of. Let's include this operation. So create file. Nope, don't see any indication of it there either. Gonna remove the filter on this. And I just want to see whether 1.exe is any different there. Okay, going quite slowly. Let's take the second snapshot of the register as well. Okay, 1.exe. Let's include 1.exe. And okay, so we can see that's been going through. It's been taking a backup of the image. That's in my pictures, obviously. So my files, whenever it looks like it's looping through the files, taking a backup. I'm assuming then it's gonna perform some operations and delete the backups. Okay, so I'm gonna go. I'll filter this by create file, but there's gonna be a lot of them because include this operation. There's gonna be a lot of them because obviously it's creating a copy of all of my files for doing the actual encryption. We now have our registry snapshot. We can go in and compare that. Okay, so these are all just system files and my programs and stuff that it's created, so no sign of it. So if we did want to pay this, I don't see any options for us being able to do that. Keys deleted. Okay, so there's been a lot of keys deleted. A lot of changes. Okay. Not too sure how much that again is related to ransomware or why it would be deleting those unless it's just deleting those like it. Well, yeah, not too sure what that's about. So we have some important files here, or I can jump into like pictures, so these pictures will no longer load. They were working fine. Okay, so this was just a copied and pasted article about what cryptography is, and now you can see that that has all been encrypted. If I have a look at maybe a PDF, yep, unable to open a PDF. Go to this important files folder because this is interesting. So this was, with this being a folder on a desktop, this might have been treated differently. So this was what I originally had in as just dummy data, and it's essentially left that there and then appended a lot of junk on the end of it. Perhaps, no. Okay, I'm not too sure exactly why this stuff seems to survive better. You know, we have a text document here as well. It's the same. All that I had in there was test document. It was appended in some kind of garbage data, but it's not actually done anything to the original data there. So if files like this, a lot of the data could be recovered. We're still not going to be able to open images, but I believe if we go and have a look, if we were to have a look at that in Notepad, oops, open with, so if we open that in Notepad, we still have our signature here for a JPEG, but obviously the rest of the data has been encrypted. So let me just have a quick look at the address. I wonder, is there any... Okay, ransom note. I'm just going to go and have a quick look to see if there's anything showing on that address. No. Okay, so it looks like that's been taken down, or... yeah, so they're not going to be able to get any money for encrypting people's files at this stage. Not from what I can see. They haven't dropped getmyid.exe anywhere, and this site's obviously down. If they have dropped this somewhere and I've missed it, let me know in the comments. And hope you've enjoyed this video.